The death of the reading habit is a public health crisis in disguise. A 40% decline in Americans reading for pleasure over 2 decades sounds like a cultural observation. The researchers behind this study are arguing it's something more urgent than that, and they're right to frame it that way. The numbers themselves are stark. Daily pleasurable reading peaked at 28% of Americans in 2004 and fell to 16% by 2023, a drop of roughly 3% per year, sustained across 2 decades without interruption. That consistency is the detail that separates this from noise. A single year drop could reflect an anomaly. A 20-year steady decline reflects a structural shift in how Americans relate to the written word. And that shift has consequences that extend well beyond anyone's feelings about the publishing industry. The public health framing, offered by one of the study's co authors, deserves to be taken seriously rather than dismissed as academic overreach. Decades of research have connected regular reading to reduced cognitive decline, lower rates of depression, improved empathy, and stronger capacity for sustained attention. When one of the study's own authors describes reading as one of the simplest tools in our public health toolkit, she isn't being poetic. She's pointing to something that costs almost nothing and delivers measurable well being outcomes, and noting that it's disappearing. The obvious explanation, screens, is part of the story, but far less sufficient than most commentary will allow. The study's authors are careful to identify structural causes alongside digital distraction. Limited access to reading materials, economic insecurity, vanishing leisure time, and the particular barriers facing rural populations where a library visit might require transportation and time that genuinely aren't available. Blaming smartphones is intellectually comfortable because it implies the solution is personal discipline. The structural explanation is less comfortable because it implies the solution requires investment, policy, and a collective decision that reading access matters. The data forces the harder conversation. The inequality dimension is the part of this study that should generate the most concern and will probably receive the least attention. Black Americans, people with low incomes and education levels, and those in rural areas saw steeper declines than the national average. One author states plainly that the people who could benefit most from reading's documented health effects are the ones benefiting least. This is a familiar pattern in public health. The intervention most needed concentrates its absence precisely among those with the fewest resources to seek it out elsewhere. When leisure time is scarce, because someone is working multiple jobs and library access requires transportation that isn't available, the 40% national figure masks a much sharper decline for specific populations. One counterintuitive finding adds texture to the picture. Among those who still read for pleasure, time spent reading has actually increased. Reading has become a more intensive habit among a shrinking group of committed practitioners while disappearing from the casual middle. This bifurcation pattern appears across multiple cultural behaviors in the digital era. The committed minority goes deeper, while the casual majority drifts entirely away. It suggests the challenge isn't reigniting passion in devoted readers. It's rebuilding the conditions under which casual, occasional, low-commitment reading remains accessible and habitual for people who aren't already enthusiasts. The US literacy rate sitting at approximately 79%, ranking 36th globally, provides the structural backdrop against which this study lands. A country where 1 in 5 adults has limited literacy and where daily pleasurable reading has fallen by nearly half in a generation is not simply experiencing a cultural preference shift. It is watching a fundamental capacity erode, quietly and consistently year by year. Physical book sales ticking up slightly in 2024, is the kind of data point that encourages premature optimism. One good year for adult fiction does not interrupt a 20-year structural trend. The habit of reading, not the occasional bestseller purchase, is what this study is tracking, and on that measure, the direction remains unchanged.